Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Teacher shot dead at school gate in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth. A young teacher has been killed after being ambushed by gunmen in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth this morning. Reporters understand that the 28-year-old educator was gunned down at her school gate, the Sandy Bank Primary Infant School in Treasure Beach. The teacher is a past student of Hampton School. Preliminary reports indicate that the teacher was at the gate to her school when gunmen rode up on motorcycles and opened gunfire, hitting her several times. Member of Parliament for South St. Elizabeth Floyd Green has condemned the murder of the teacher. The murder was committed in Mr. Green's constituency. In a statement issued, Mr. Green identified the woman as Chantal Smith. Mr. Green is appealing to anyone with information to contact the police.
The police must leave no stones unturned in bringing these cowardly and vicious criminals to justice. So I'm appealing to anyone that has any information to please share it with the authorities. We cannot allow this act of cowardice to go unpunished.
Meanwhile, Mr. Green says he contacted the Early Childhood Commissioner to provide counseling for the students and teachers. Mr. Green says he also contacted the Ministry of Health and Wellness to provide counseling for the family. Acting Chief Education Officer Dr. Kesson Thorpe, who had learned of the incident just before joining a discussion on Cliffviews Online today, expressed regret at the murder of the young teacher. Dr. Thorpe says teachers and children should never be exposed to such acts in Jamaica.
Really a sad time for us here at the Ministry of Education. You know, this is the news we were woken to this morning when our regional director advised us of the unfortunate situation at Sandy Bank Infant School this morning. You know, we lost one of our teachers, and I just really want to use the opportunity, Cliff, if you permit me, just to share our regrets for this unfortunate situation. We would never in any kind of imagination would want any of our children, any of our members of staff to be exposed to this kind of violence. We really are sorry that this has happened, especially at the entrance of one of our schools, a place of learning. A teacher transforms and creates and makes dreams a reality for children. The teacher brings comfort and security for children. We should never expose a teacher or any children, for that matter, to a situation of this, like this in our country. This is quite regrettable, unfortunate, unacceptable, you know, and I just wanted to express my sympathies to the family at this time.
Man held for death of 6-year-old girl beaten by residents. The 55-year-old man suspected of killing 6-year-old Timora McCollum in Tex Lane in Kingston was last night beaten by residents and now remains under police guard in hospital. It is reported that about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, the man was repairing an illegal firearm when it discharged a round which hit McCollum, who was also in the yard. She succumbed to her injuries. The man reportedly fled the yard shortly after the incident. He reportedly returned to the yard later in the night and was accosted by residents. He was beaten and trapped several times. Him trap up bad and the hospital, a resident who did not want her name to be disclosed reported. When we are asked for the gun, him say him na have no gun, and him a tell the soldier them say and lie we a tell, and I know him, and it look like the owner for the gun come and take it, another resident said. Social anthropologist calls for national violence audit. Social anthropologist Dr. Herbert Gale says a national violence audit needs to be conducted across the country as one of the several solutions to help curb the high levels of crime and violence. He was speaking at a panel discussion on how the diaspora can assist in solving Jamaica's high crime and corruption problem. Dr. Gale says for such a wide-scale research, the involvement of the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force will be of added value. He noted that locating at-risk youth groups should be of high priority.
Only one of 7 inner city boys and one of 3 inner city girls are shielded. And part of the drive to reducing violence is to increase the number of kids who are shielded. If we can increase those who are shielded and we can reduce the proportion of high-risk youth, it means locating these groups, assessing the context of their needs, and we are able to reduce violence in Jamaica. So where would I put my support if I lived in the diaspora? It would be in funding a violence audit in Jamaica, in adopting communities where we can focus on the kids who are most vulnerable. When you look at the communities such as communities in Spanish Town, where Children First, where I'm the chairman, have adopted, you'll see that the murders go all the way down, because once we begin to increase the number of persons who are high risk and shutters and potential shutters, as in adopting their families, we are going to be reducing violence. Violence reduction, by the way, is a very slow process. And that is precisely why a lot of governments have not been embarking on this process, because it does not get you ready for the next election. It gets the country ready for violence reduction.
Criminology says SOEs are not intended to reduce crime. Criminologist Professor Anthony Harriott says states of public emergency SOEs are not intended to reduce crime. Instead, Professor Harriott says SOEs help security forces to establish control over the country's crime problem. Speaking with reporters on Monday, Professor Harris said people generally misunderstand the purpose of SOEs.
I want to be absolutely clear. In my mind, it's all about control. It's not about reduction. Mm-hmm. Reduction is the responsibility of the police service and the other crime reduction supportive mechanisms, effective social crime prevention, etc. So that control issue is the one that has bedeviled us for a long, long time, decades. But since 2010, when we made that big improvement, the effort since then has been, how do we prevent a reversal? Now, we have to understand that there's a pressure for reversal. The crime problem itself exerts a pressure for reversal. And it's this pressure that the police service is up against, right? So what is the strategy for control? When the police efforts are not bearing the kind of fruit, not delivering the effective control, not delivering with the efficiency, you need to bring in the army. That's all the SOE does. So the length of usage now has to be resolved in the following manner, in my opinion. What is required to bring about control, right? A, and B, what is the contribution that we can reasonably expect from the military to bring about that measure of control? Those are the issues, right?
Yes,
and
sir.
it will take quite a bit of time to get into those issues, please.
3 cops interdicted over escape of fugitive from lockup. The Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF is reporting that 3 members who were on duty on the day a Jamaican fugitive wanted in St. Lucia for murder and gun crimes escaped from Kingston Central Police lockup have been placed in interdiction. The JCF says a parallel criminal investigation into this incident has begun. 27-year-old Arville Purnell was due to face an extradition hearing on December 6, absconded from police custody on Wednesday, December 1. The incident has refocused the spotlight on a series of escapees from police lockups and raised questions about the actions of police personnel. He never escaped really. We believe that he just walked out of the station, a senior police officer who was closely monitoring the investigation reported. The policeman, who requested that his name not be published because the probe is at a delicate stage, said that there were no signs that Purnell's cell was tampered with. The JCF noted that 8 other members have been placed on interdiction in relation to 2 other cases of escape that occurred this year. It added that it takes all allegations made against members seriously. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson stressed that improving the integrity of police lockups is critical to the modernization of the constabulary force. We have sought to refurbish many police lockups across the country because we treat this function of policing as being critical to improving our ability to keep people safe, said Anderson in a statement. Anderson also emphasized that while due process will be taken, there must be consequences for the recent escapes of detainees. Let me make it abundantly clear to the public and to the men and women I lead that this is a matter of accountability that I take very seriously. When people through negligence or unprofessionalism cause the name of the JCF to be tarnished, there must be consequences, he said. The JCF indicated there have been 8 incidents of detainees escaping from police custody since the start of 2021. Of those incidents, it said that 4 investigations are far advanced and are the subject of administrative processes. The JCF said Inspectorate and Professional Standard Oversight Bureau investigations continue into the 4 other matters, and update will be provided at an appropriate time. JCF's newest domestic violence centers have already addressed 18 cases, stated Commissioner. The Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF says at least 18 cases have been reported to its recently opened domestic violence intervention centers. Speaking at a virtual launch at the Digital Footprints Forum, Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson said the JCF has fulfilled its promise to the public. Amid concerns of increase in reports of domestic violence earlier this year, the JCF said it would have opened the intervention centers as part of the measures to address the concerns.
This digital world is telling us that now and in the future, and the future, when we speak of the future nowadays, is no longer 50 years down the road. The future is 5 years down the road. And we have to be as fast as that and agile as that, as the technology itself requires us to know and be able to function in a different way. The truth of the matter is that our laws are not as agile as the technology. And it's something that we're going to have to look at, because our public nowadays will see things that look like bad behavior, even immoral things, improper things, but they're not necessarily illegal, because such an offense has not been yet described in law. And of course they'll say, well, it's the police that is condoning bad behavior, why that person is not incarcerated, when in fact there is no charge to write because there's no such offense. It'll probably be another domestic violence intervention center. We just did a soft opening on 6 of them. So remember I had said we'd get them done before the end of the year? Well, they're open and running. 18 cases referred to one of those centers in the first week of it opening, of which 3 of the cases it was believed that they had resolved it completely. So we will see. But it's all part of delivering a better service to the country.
Digital television switchover in Jamaica set to begin in 2022. The Broadcasting Commission is reminding the public that the digital television switchover in Jamaica will get underway in 2022, with completion expected by 2023. The Commission says Jamaicans should expect to see an increase in free-to-air television channel offering as broadcasters embark on a phased transition from analogs to digital transmission. Broadcasters will see the ATSC 3.0 digital standard of broadcasting, commonly known as Next-Gen TV. This is the world's first full Internet Protocol, IP-based television standard, and is considered the most advanced standard globally. The Commission says the digital television switchover will not only expand the number of free-to-air TV channels, but will enhance the way in which Jamaicans now experience TV. It will facilitate access to TV programming on phones and tablets, higher quality video and audio, improve accessibility features, seamless interactivity, and an overall immersive viewer experience, it outlined. During the transition phase, broadcasters will simultaneously engage in analog and digital transmission as they develop and test their digital transmission facilities. When the exercise is complete, all free-to-air analog signals will be turned off and replaced by digital signals. Viewers in households who receive their television programming via cable or satellite service will continue to have access to free-to-air television stations. However, households that rely on over-the-air reception rooftop or rabbit-ear antenna to watch television will need to have an ATSC 3.0 compatible television or have the signal converted via a set-top box to enable their analog or other standard TVs to receive the digital signal. The Commission says a comprehensive communications program will be executed to ensure that the transition to digital television is user-friendly. The digital television switchover is being managed by the National DSO Steering Committee, which is chaired by the Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Favour Williams, and include representation from the Broadcasting Commission, Spectrum Management Authority, Broadcasting and Cable Industry, National Consumers League, and the Combined Disabilities Association. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.